What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of On the Bump. And on the Bump this week, we have Sean Kulberg, who currently works for Better Baseball, but also goes by the alias of Goat Gloves on Instagram. Sean, how you doing this week?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, just having a nice time and about to get
Yeah.
really hot where I'm from. So, not really looking forward to that, but I'm nonetheless really glad we could be able to talk to you and pick your brain today.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Sean, can you kind of just give the people a little bit of an introduction into who you are, how you started in the baseball content world, and what ultimately led you to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, if we take it back from the beginning, I've kind of grew up playing baseball ever since I was like 7 or 8 years old. Enjoyed playing it, had a really fun time. I wasn't, anything special, but as I kind of grew older and got more into elite gear, you could say, like in that high school age where you start getting your first real glove, you get into the BB core bats and everything like that. I fell in love with gloves for some reason. I always had a knack for like collecting things, whether it's sneakers, or just anything that's kind of special you can show some of your personality with. And gloves became one of those things that I just for some reason really found a passion for. So that was probably early in high school. And then I taught myself how to relace, how to refurbish gloves, and I was kind of that team guy for just everyone's gloves. If they had issues, like I became that guy. And then that took me all the way into college. I went to the University of Georgia, Go Dogs, and I was one of the student managers for the baseball team there. So I did that for 2 years. Again, I was kind of just the glove guy, the glove nerd, the gearhead there. We have our glove design days, and like I'm helping all the players make their picks and doing all that. So that was really fun. And then I graduated about a year ago from UGA, and I've been at Better Baseball for about a year now. And I do kind of marketing for them, so content production more on the back end, where I'm sure Michael Bice, obviously. But for everyone listening, he's kind of the face of the brand, I guess you could say. He's the on-camera guy, and I'm doing all the stuff behind camera.
So, Sean, what kind of ultimately found you in Better Baseball's kind of graces? Like, what led you, anything at the University of Georgia that just led you to Better Baseball? Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so I mean, being from or around that area, so Athens, where the UGA campus is, about 2 hours away from Better Baseball. But driving back and forth, just throughout the state, I would go to Better Baseball maybe once a semester. So I got to have my fair share at Better Baseball. Just being a gearhead myself, like it's the best baseball store out there. So I kind of just popped in every now and then. And then I also knew Michael, because he's a couple years older than me, but we had that same passion for baseball gloves, and also being on social media, we kind of connected there. And as I was coming up, at the end of my college career, I reached out to Michael, or he reached out to me, and he was like, "We have an opening. I think this would be perfect for you. Like, I'd love to get you in here to interview." And that little connection just turned into a job, and a year later, we're still kicking it.
What's it like working at Better Baseball? Can you talk about that?
It's a crazy, fast, fun atmosphere. We're a small company, but we like to move fast. We like to do things fun and be innovative, which I'm all about. Especially our marketing team. It's me, Bice, and a couple others, and we're just always going so fast, thinking of ideas what we can do next, how to improve, how to, help ball players play better, how to improve our store experience, how to make, our connections on social media better. It's always innovating. It's always something new, which I really enjoy. Like I always wanted to work in sports, and this gave me, that avenue to do that. If because I was never going to go professional. I was not great at baseball, but I had a lot of fun playing it. And I knew I wanted to do something, at least within sports, to continue that. So it's exactly the perfect place for retired ball players.
Now, I don't know if you could say that Better Baseball is a very small store anymore by any means. Now, I mean, you guys are huge, and I feel like you're one of the probably the main staples when it comes to the sporting good industry, right? I mean, there's so many, it's so cool what you guys have done with just exclusive gloves and just designing your own thing. Do you kind of take part in that process?
Yeah, it's a really fun process. So we have a team of glove designers. I mean, you kind of mentioned it, but a lot of our inventory is our exclusive gloves. That's kind of something that we're known for. We have a giant glove world. That's what we call our huge our glove room. And I'd say like 80-90% of all of those gloves in there are designed by us. You can only get them at Better Baseball. That process is done through a team of guys, and we kind of just get together. It's like, all right, we need a new batch for whatever the winter line. So we'll get together months and months and months ahead of time. We'll put, however many designs together. It's like, all right, just make five of these, five of these, five of these. We all come together, kind of round table it, and just make our picks. Usually we'll make some cuts just because guys will make something so similar. We'll kind of pick out our favorites and then order those. And it takes, a good chunk of time. But then when they come in, it's like you almost forget what you made, and it's a fun new surprise again.
So, do you guys ever like, I mean, obviously this probably happens, but like, do you guys disagree on stuff and it's kind of like hard to come to a compromise? Like, Sean, you might like one thing and Bice might like something completely different, and then, you guys kind of have to talk about it. What's that like?
Yeah, there's a lot of banter in the room. It's very fun because some guys are going to be really high on designs, and then we show them it's like, oh, and then other times we have the sleeper picks, where it's like we may not be high on the design, but then it comes in, it's like, dude, that's a banger. Because a lot of times if the glove's not actually in front of you, it's hard to get the full picture of what it's going to look like. But we do a good job bouncing ideas off of each other. It's like, I've seen something like this before. What if we, spun it and made it our own and, switch it into something like this? And we've done that a few times and with the colorways or patterns or just unique little details that we get to do. So that's really fun. And then, ultimately the decision makers uh, have the final say in that to what actually gets bought. But we usually make our cases for the ones that we really like. Because usually we'll say we make like five each, and then we'll all sit down and go through them. Typically, you'll get most of them picked. We're limited to how many patterns we can make at this time, and a lot of times, even if they don't get picked, we'll just resubmit the same ones. Like if you really like something, you just put in the next batch and keep it going. And like I know Bias, he's been there longer than I have, so he's had some. He's like, dude, this took me like 3 years, but I finally got it.
With your past experience, working at Georgia and, obviously having a knack for collecting things, designing things, how did those creative processes, those experiences kind of help you and give you the knowledge and the foundation for what you're doing at Better Baseball now?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, extremely helpful because where I started at Better Baseball was along the e-commerce side. So I was putting up product for our website and just having all of that knowledge based on, I started collecting gloves about 8 years ago. So all of that knowledge and learning how to relace gloves and the ins and outs in each part of the glove and how this pattern is different from this pattern is, helping us put our players in the best position to be successful, where, you get to really get into the nitty gritty and help people find the right product that's ultimately going to help them play the best. So whether it's bats and gloves, which, also doing the equipment at UGA, getting into all the nitty gritty of that, it really helped me get well rounded to have a good product knowledge.
Mhm.
And then obviously that's, the main focus of my job now. So it's not only good for helping people get their gear, but also for designing gloves. And, I've seen pretty much every colorway that you can imagine. So it's really cool when we're designing things. It's like pulling up stuff from 2018 that like can still be relevant today. So it's a really cool part.
So the nitty-gritty, the details, and what you want best for your customers and ball players to know, I assume that that's really helped you when it comes to marketing different products. And like you said, you have that background in e-commerce, right? So you have a lot of that information and you kind of know, okay, this is what this looks like. This is who we need to get this out to. How does that play a role when you go to market different things for Better Baseball?
Yeah, I mean, it's safe. Take a bat, for example. When you have the product knowledge and you know exactly this bat is made for a certain person, it's easier to tell that story. So, even when I'm talking to a customer in the store, say like a guy like me, I'm not ever going to be a big power hitter. I'm not hitting mashing home runs. So when, they come to me with their 10-year-old kid, he's like, yeah, he's not hitting any home runs either. I'm like, perfect. Look at me. If I were his age, I'd pick this bat. And it's easier to tell that story and hit the kind of demographics that you're trying to go to. And it's a lot easier to do that when you believe in the story that you're trying to tell. and you make that story believable, or like it feels genuine to the consumer.
Does that also play a role when you're also doing like, marketing online, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, I mean, you name it.
Yep.
Like, does that demographic or what you're trying to the story you're trying to tell and who you're trying to convey that information to, I assume that also helps there as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So we try to do as much like, targeting as possible. And it's not as easy with social media because you're not speaking to one person directly. You're really speaking to the masses. But whether it's glove patterns or glove designs, we get to say, oh, well, if you're a player that, prefers wearing your glove two in the pinky, you should probably, work more towards this. And if you're a flashy player, you'll like this glove. And if you like a little subtlety, but some pop of color, we made this for you. So it's a great blend because we have such a variety of product to where we can really hit anybody that we want to. Any type of ball player walks through our doors or sees our social media, or our YouTube or whatnot, we can narrate, and find a product that reaches almost everyone.
How does it feel to have your back with a bunch of different like baseball guys, like we talked about, Bice, Cam, different guys like that who also work at Better Baseball? They have your back. They've also played baseball. They are athletes as well. Like they understand, what it takes, what guys are looking for. How does that feel? Like when you just that you're surrounded by a bunch of great group of people.
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. I mean, when you have guys that have the same passion as you, and they're all driven to the same goal and they've been working towards it, like just as long as you have, and there's guys with decades and decades of experience, and we all have our unique aspects as well. That's also what makes us such a good team. Like Cam is our glove craftsman at Better Baseball, and he has, a knack for relacing and stitching gloves that, like Bice and I can relace a little bit, but that's Cam's strong suit. And, Bice has that experience of a college elite level ball player, which Cam and I don't have. And then I have that like collector designer mentality that they also have, but we all have our own focuses, and it's really fun because I think if you are trying to give someone the best experience that we are, you have to come at it genuine. And if you don't know what you're talking about, it becomes evident pretty quickly. So just having that team around us where, maybe I don't know the answer to everything, but I can lean on someone that does, it's a very comforting feeling. And ultimately helps us, get people where they need to be.
So talking about your designing, your collecting, that's your focus. So Sean, can you please explain to me how you kind of started Goat Gloves and what ultimately led you to keeping up with that account, collecting gloves, and just posting on there?
Yeah. So kind of, I mean, I hinted at earlier, but in high school, those early days, I never had a glove, over like $100 until I got to high school. Never knew what an A2000 was. And all my friends started getting these gloves, and I started realizing that's a big part of your game. Like that's the player, but also the gear that they're using can impact, every single pitch. So the more I saw that and saw gloves also as an expression of players, they piqued my interest, and I started collecting gloves, learning more about them. And then also as I had more money in high school and all the way up through college, and now I get to collect more, which is fun. And being a Better Baseball gives me a great opportunity to share the gloves that we have, to offer, which is really, really cool. Because I think our some of our exclusive gloves are insane. I mean, we get some pretty unique opportunities with our vendors that, nobody else can really match. And it's a really cool thing. And it's like gloves I never thought I would have the chance to get. And now they're pretty much right at my feet every single day. So, it's very cool. But anyway, just going up through high school and college, I kept collecting and growing that collection more, and it hasn't stopped, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's been fun. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
What's your favorite glove in your collection?
It's probably gonna have to be, I got a, custom while I was with UGA. So during our big glove day that you see all the colleges get, I got to make one of those. So I have a custom A2000 1786, that has the UGA logo on it, and it's something I'll never sell. It's super special. I got to make it there, and like haven't touched it. The tags are still on it. It's in the middle of my shelf, and I mean, something I'll cherish forever.
Personally, I really like the 1786 model. It's very light and I feel like
Hmm.
it's super super like great to break in as well. I almost
Yes.
wish Wilson made a 1786 model that you could customize for like a pitcher, like with a closed
Hmm.
web. This is funny. It's funny you mentioned this because I've been thinking about this for the last like few months, and I'm just like, man, Wilson, the 1786. So many people love it. It's like perfect.
Great
It's
pattern.
like it's not too heavy and it's like not too light either. It like feels, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like perfect.
Yeah.
Kind of a
No,
little
I,
bit of side note there.
I agree. No, I have like I think 12 or 13 1786 gloves. And it's obviously like my favorite by far.
Oh,
It's what
absolutely.
I would game today if I was still playing.
I think it's one of the best patterns I think that Wilson's come out with pretty recently.
Mhm.
I mean, I think their A2000s is pretty good, but they're in their B2 as well. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it can be a little heavy at times, and that's just something I'm kind of like, I don't know about. But you know, um, besides the 1786, if you had to choose another glove, what would that be besides your custom Georgia glove?
Um, let's see. I have some other pretty cool ones. Probably the Trevor Bauer glove that I got. So I skipped over this part. There was kind of a break in between. So once I was done working for the Georgia baseball team, I had an internship for 1 year with Rachel Luba, who is Trevor Bauer's agent. So I got to be out there in their facility in Arizona, which is where Momentum is also held. So that's under Trevor's company. And I was out there, got to be with the Momentum crew. This was when Trevor was pitching in Japan, and a bunch of companies were sending him gloves as he was pitching in Japan. So I got to hang on to one of those from him. So that was really really special. Something that was pretty cool.
Did Bauer gift it to you?
Yeah, so I got it from Rachel, who got it from Trevor. So it was a Christmas bonus that I got as her intern.
Oh, that's awesome. That wow.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. For me, I mean, at least for me, that'd be my favorite custom personal glove.
yeah, it's a close 1 and 2, for sure. It's a hard choice.
Um, what else did you do for with that internship?
It was a lot of, brand reach out. So while Trevor was playing, he's having to perform at a high level. He can't really run his other businesses like he would like to. So I was doing a lot of the marketing for him, and as well as her other clients. So doing brand outreach, trying to get sponsorships and, marketing events for him. And then I was also helping out with Momentum a little bit on the side while I was in Arizona. And then a lot of it was remote work. And then towards the end with spring training, it was getting guys gear, getting PR packages, all that stuff during spring training.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was a super fun job. It got me some cool experience because I'd always been on the gear side of things, but that gave me some like actual league and player experience, which was really, really cool.
I definitely think that the connections probably helped you out as well, right?
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, even the time with Momentum, which was only a few months, pretty much set me up for exactly what I'm doing today. And then just leaning on those guys. Like we had Eric Sim come in the store probably a few months ago or end of last year. And I was, sitting 10 feet away from him during the summer. So it was cool just the the full circle moment of, seeing the connections and how that actually plays out in real life.
So, what was your first encounter with Eric Sim? What was that like?
Oh, that was crazy. So I was just sitting at my desk, and you could hear him walking up the stairs. You know it's Eric when he's walking up. So he came up to me. I shook his hand. I was like, "How's it going? I'm Sean. Good to meet you." He's like, "Good to meet you." And he just kept walking to his desk. And he turns to everyone else. He's like, "What's that guy doing here?" And then like basically asking who I was, why I was even there. And I was like, "I'm Rachel's intern." He's like, "Cool." He's like, "You're all right." But he was trying to kick me out of the place before I even started. So it was funny. He's exactly what you would think. Like on camera, off camera, he's the same guy.
That's awesome. That sounds like a really fun experience as well.
Yeah, it was super, super cool. Something I wish I could go back, but I was glad my time was there.
Sean, kind of shifting gears a little bit, who is your favorite MLB team?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I was grew up in Houston, and I like the Astros, which is a little controversial nowadays for some things, but they're my favorite team. I'm sticking with them.
Who's your favorite player?
Well, I liked Bregman a lot. I still do, obviously, but it hurts a little now that he's not with the Astros. Of course, he's been turning up with the Red Sox, which also hurts. We didn't pay enough for us to keep him. But I always liked Bregman the way he played. He's elite defender, clutch guy in the playoffs. So he was a big part of that run that we had those 5 or so years with all the playoff runs. So. I'd have to go with Bregman.
Bregman, interesting. I like Jose Altuve on the Astros. I think he's pretty cool.
Hmm.
But I've really enjoyed watching Ronel Blanco pitch for the Astros for the last couple years. You know, having like was I think he threw a no hitter, right? Didn't he throw a no hitter, or was it a perfect game?
I think he threw a no hitter.
Yeah, I think it was no hitter, but I love watching him take the mound and obviously him and Javier just every other day. Like it's just it's so cool to see what those guys can do, especially with the pitches in their arsenal. So I mean
Definitely.
they're fun to watch, especially when Verlander was with the Astros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a special team. I feel like we're kind of losing our pieces a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But it was those are great guys.
Yeah, you gotta stick with the home team for sure. For sure.
Hmm. Definitely. They're trying to make me a Braves fan now living out in Atlanta, but I'm not letting it happen.
The Braves got a lot to look forward to here. I mean, they got Ronald Acuna Jr. just came back. I mean, got Spencer Strider. I mean,
Yep. Got the
there's
All-Star
lots of
game in
good players.
Atlanta.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, also there's Matt Olson. Is it Matt Olson on the
Yep.
Braves? Yeah.
Yep.
Can't convert, Sean.
Yeah, I won't do it. I won't do it. I've been to some games. It's been nice. Because Truist Park is like 10 minutes from work. So we'll get to go to some games, just the guys from work, which is nice. Just taking off right after work and going to a Braves game. It's fun. But I'm not letting them convert me yet.
Have you got to see the Astros play at the Braves Stadium?
Not yet. They're playing in September, so I'm gonna try to go see that when they're here.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Is there anything else that you are really excited about, just like kind of with gloves coming up or like the glove industry moving forward? Is there anything you're really, really looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I think gloves are honestly just getting started. I think we're going to see a lot more kids collecting or having, different gloves as they're playing. Like you see guys in the MLB, they got a home game glove, they have a practice glove, they have a road glove, they have their alternate uniform glove. And I think we're going to start seeing that more, which is fun for me because, we're designing and all the glove options that we have kids come in, they're like, oh, I have, the Rugrat and I have the Roulette and I have the Azalea, and they're naming all these gloves that we designed. And just I see a little bit of myself, in those kids when like I was growing up and I got excited about getting new gloves all the time, or as often as I could at least. So I think the more you see that color pop on these gloves, which really wasn't a thing even when I was playing, and now there's all these options that are incredible, and these kids are really diving into that, and just the variety that there is out there, I don't think that's ever going to stop. I think the innovation is going to keep going. There's a lot of these companies are still coming out with new materials that they're putting on gloves. I mean, we just dropped lizard skin gloves with Marucci that have lizard skin material in the palm liner. Those feel incredible. And it's just brand new fun things. I think there's going to be more collabs coming up in the future. And I'm just excited for it. Like I've been in the industry for a few years now, and seeing where it can go. Just as a glove head, I'm very excited for it.
Is there any particular brand you're curious and just kind of excited to see here moving forward?
Ooh, um, yeah, I mean, there's a few because gloves are very interesting where there's so many different tastes of gloves. Like there's the classic guys, which typically has maybe been a Rawlings guy before, and then Wilson's had their flash with the pops of colors, and there's new companies out there like Shadow Ball Glove is one of them that's just like completely off the walls, and that's something that we have in our stores, but they're like people come in all the time and they're freaking out like, what's this glove that has eyes on it and bullets on it and scars, and I mean that's one that people have a lot of fun with. It definitely takes the right person to have that glove, but they're they're doing something crazy, and I think like you kind of have to do that nowadays because all these glove brands have been taken over, and it's been a Wilson and Rawlings dominated league for so long. But that's a fun one that's been getting out there recently.
Yeah, I do think it's really interesting to see all these, kind of tinier glove brands start to really pop up and really kind of give Wilson and Rawlings and, to an extent Mizuno a run for their money when it comes to like, gaining customers and just showing them that there's other brands that are available that a lot of people don't really know about. And I do think that it's really, really cool. Like you were talking about Shadow. Shadows, I mean, I've gotten my hands on a couple of their gloves, and I think they're just fantastic, especially the artistic design and the feel and just everything about the flash, I guess you want to say, like is really, really cool. Especially, coming from like I guess you would say a smaller brand, the craftsmanship and just the way that everything is put together. I feel like they're great gloves and they're definitely on the swing, on the upswing.
Definitely. I think a lot of the players in the MLB have, kind of caught on to some glove trends, and I think you'll see other companies try to mimic that, whether it's, Japan styles, and like Rolex has even gotten into that. But like a company like Jax, who started in batting gloves, but now is, getting into gloves because there's a market for it now. It's really, really cool.
Do you have any like kind of more hopes of the type of glove content you want to continue to do with Better Baseball? And in terms of that content, how do you think that people or players, what do they have to look forward to from Better Baseball with gloves?
Yeah, there's first of all, there's a lot to look forward to. Not only are we making new designs every day, there's new things that companies are coming out with that we can't even and think of right now. And on the other side, I think education is going to be a big focus for us. Trying to get people to condition their gloves, take care of their gloves. We're always here to help relace and break in gloves, but the more we can educate consumers, like the better they take care of their gear will take care of them. And the more you know about different gloves and glove patterns, like we want to kind of be a voice that helps people learn about their gear, because we think gloves specifically, I mean, it's you use it every single play. So it's extremely important. It's an extension of your hand. So it needs to be, the right feel, the right fit. And a lot of people are probably in the wrong size glove or in the wrong pattern, or they're wearing, their glove the wrong way. And the more that we can help do that, the better for that. So not only education, but then also the player's expression. Look good, feel good, play good. So we are also, just trying to do whatever we can to stand out, but also give the players something that they're going to be comfortable in and have fun playing in.
I'm really excited to see what you guys have next, Sean. I'm definitely looking forward to, it, especially from Better Baseball. If anyone wants to see what Better Baseball is all about, I'll be leaving a link in the description below, so go and check it out. I'll also be leaving links to Sean's Instagram, so you can go and check him out, follow him, and see the amazing work that he and everyone at Better Baseball does. So go and check it out. Once again, Sean, thank you so much for coming onto the channel and talking to the people.
Sir, thank you very much. I had a great time.
Thank you.